Hi, Gloria Brooks here with Nature Glow's eScience. So yesterday I started a story with you about my elementary math anxiety, which began in second grade when my teacher passed back my math homework paper covered in red X's. And it was actually my classwork because I never did my homework back then in second grade. So I wanted to finish that same story for you today. So that weekend after my teacher gave, and by the way, I'm going to put a link here to the first part of the story in case you haven't heard it. So it'll be in the link in the description, and you can click on that now if you want to listen to that first. And it'll also be at the end of the video. You can click on the video at the end that'll pop up on the screen. So that weekend, instead of watching cartoons like I typically did on a Saturday morning, I set up a little workshop at the kitchen table. Let me just back up a little bit, okay? Because I kind of interrupted telling you about the video, the first part of this video. So that weekend, after my teacher gave me back my math worksheet covered in red X's, I did something that still shocks and amazes me to this day. Just an 8-year-old girl. That weekend, instead of watching cartoons like I typically did on a Saturday morning, I set up a little workshop at the kitchen table. I got paper, scissors, tape, some crayons, and my mother was still asleep like she usually was. I usually rose before her. And what I did was I cut out little pieces of paper and created 3 tiny booklets. And then I drew into them pictures of marine life I had seen in a Jacques Cousteau hardback book about marine life I had found at my grandparents' house. So I colored my drawings with my crayons, and next I took my pencil and very neatly wrote in little tiny math problems. The same problems I had completely failed. Actually, more elaborate math problems. And I illustrated the 3 little booklets with marine life. One booklet was addition, another was subtraction. The final little booklet was on multiplication. So here I was just 8 years old, and I naturally was deschooling math. Okay? Isn't that awesome? I love the story of my life, with especially this one. I was connecting the math problems I hated on the worksheet with something else that I loved, which were marine animals. And I drew pictures of zebrafish, mermaids, whales. I actually have them right here. I should grab them for you. I'll show you where I hide them in my drawer. It's really super cool. It's from 1981, I think. Still have them. I have like several, I have an archive of like stuff from when I was a little kid that I've managed to save. And for those of you who know me or don't know me, I like literally squeezed my entire life in this van. So here it is. Like, yeah, this is my van. My dog is under the pink blanket there on the floor. I don't know if you can see her, but I squeezed my entire life in here, and I still have these little booklets that I'm talking about with you tonight. So I was connecting the math problems I hated on the worksheet with something else that I loved, marine animals. So they're so cute. Pictures of zebrafish, mermaids, whales, jellyfish, and even little submarines. And I'm gonna let's look for them together. So they're actually in this drawer. Okay, I have a little pouch that I keep them in. Bum ba bum. Yeah, I've got like this bright light here. So you can see me better tonight. So I'm like holding my camera. I'm trying to do this one-handed. Okay. And bada boom. Here they are. Here are the little tiny booklets that I'm talking about. Okay. You know, I realized while I was creating these tiny booklets that I was doing something really epic. Hang on a second. I got to pull them out. They're a little tough to pull out. Okay, so, and I actually created a little museum thingy ding here. like, you know, like a curator does for museums. So Fish Math, Subtraction, Multiplication Edition, 1981. So here I wrote, done when I was about 8 years of age, 1981. I was living with my mother, Maureen, when I made these little fish math books. We lived in an apartment in Roosevelt Avenue in Poughkeepsie, New York. And then here's the other side. Sticker I got in 1980. That's the little scratch and sniff strawberry sticker here. It still smells actually like a strawberry. Okay, and then here is the subtraction booklet. There's the little submarine. Sorry, again, I'm trying to do all this one-handed. It's a bit tricky. There's the back side. There's the zebrafish. Here are the little math problems. Subtraction. I actually had a hard time memorizing subtraction. I still do, actually. I find it much more difficult than addition. Anyone else have that challenge? Okay. This one's not quite the epic one. I mean, the outside's pretty cool. Then we have the addition. Here are the little addition problems. I want to try not to touch my keyboard there. Okay. They're not perfect, but I really got into it. Look at this problem. 1, 2, 5, 9, 6. Adding all those together. That's quite an epic problem. Okay, and look at the seaweed. Interesting fish. There's a diver. I really like how I drew jellyfish there. That's super cool. Okay, and then right here, this one is really epic. My multiplication booklet here. I don't know what that smiley face is. I think it's a jellyfish. Okay, this one, I actually really started getting into it, and you can tell, like, the tape is yellowed. Little multiplication problems. I put these little bubbles underneath. I don't know if that was from my school worksheets or what. But there's a jellyfish. And actually, this book was the final book that I did, and it got extremely creative, I remember. So notice, like, the pages are like water, the color of water. Okay, there's a dragonfish, assumably. It's really hard doing this one-handed. Okay. So I really want you to see the inside of these. Okay, so there's a picture of a submarine with a multiplication problem. That looks like a whale, 1,000 times 9. These are so amusing to look at. The mermaid, and there's a cool looking jellyfish. My hand is getting really super tired holding this phone at this weird corner here. I'm right-handed, so I'm having to hold the phone in my left. I love the dragon here. It's pretty epic. Okay. And that's the last page. But there was one page here. Let me see if I can find it. All right, so I changed to green paper, very fish, and fish, very fish math. And then I wrote something else. Stop. Good news. Harder and one big problem. Notice the seahorse there up in the upper right-hand corner. So, you know, it's interesting. I knew that I would keep these for years to come. I knew that I was doing something really remarkable. Sorry about the light in my glasses. But I need my glasses. Well, no, I don't. Okay, so my teacher was making 3 classic fatal math learning mistakes with me that you can't make if you want your resistant kids to really love and do math. So traditional math education focuses most of its time on the wrong things. Maybe not so much the wrong things, but like hyper focused on, we'll talk about it. So teachers spend all of their time teaching to the test, these days especially, and focusing only on math's computational properties. So back in the 70s and the 80s, my teachers were given much more liberty in teaching how they wanted to than teachers have today. But still, I can tell you from firsthand childhood experience, the math learning was about the same drudgery then as it is in schools today. Rote memorization, quiz, test, compulsory homework. It was rinse and repeat year after year, most of my 12 years of education until I graduated. Sound familiar? Right? So fast forward to my years of teaching math to elementary students in private school. I was basically teaching math the same way that my predecessors who had taught me, and I was getting about the same lackluster results with my students. And I ended up learning the hard way for a good chunk of my early teaching career that for a lot of kids, traditional math education just doesn't cut it. So mistake number 1, focusing all your math time on math computation, only using a curriculum. Here's the truth. You can literally have your child memorize all their math facts, including addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, do all the drills and worksheets, but if your child is kicking, bucking, and resisting, it's best to listen to them. And I had to learn the hard way, and it almost cost me my teaching career. Mistake number 2, focusing all of your homeschool math learning time. Sorry, my hand's getting tired. Number 2, focusing all your homeschool math learning time on getting through the curriculum with a resistant child. You could have the best online or hands-on math curriculum, but if your child is checking out of math, it's time for a change. Mistake number 3, focusing on reprimanding your child for not doing their math work. So let's face it, when we adults don't want to do something, we just don't do it, right? Well, there are some things that we have to do. There are many things, actually. But yet we have a lot of autonomy when it comes to choices. So why are we so afraid of allowing our kids to have a say in their education, especially math, which can be learned in so many other more exciting and fun ways rather than through the drudgery of a textbook or dry online program that your kids are dreading and hating every day? So you could spend days, weeks, months, and even years of your homeschool life agonizing over your child's math. Or you could do what I do now. Not worry about a darn thing when it comes to your child's learning math and rather focus on the fun and beauty of math found everywhere around you. And this might sound nebulous to many of you, but just hang in there with me. Sounds crazy, and that is actually what I do. So when you're implementing fun and real-life connections in math with your child, they will respond. Perhaps much more so after they deschool math and the rest of their subjects. And deschooling, what is it? It's literally taking a vacation and not doing anything that even remotely looks like school. It's a deprogramming period, basically, for you and your family to decompress, to find your natural rhythms, and to start to learn how your family learns best so that you can choose a great homeschool style that suits your family. When you're when you're showing your child real-world math connections, they will respond. They will turn from resistant little peeps to voracious lifelong learners and lovers of math. And a traditional math curriculum won't matter a freaking bit. Trust me. And you don't want to make the same fatal mistake that I was making back in 2003. So do this instead. So I've told you the 3 things to make sure you never do with homeschool math again. So what should you do instead? Focus on looking for math everywhere around you. My teacher, Mrs. Thompson, in 2nd grade, bless her heart, did what most teachers and homeschool parents do by teaching the mechanics of math and leaving out all the fun and beauty of it. And this was the mistake I was doing too up until 2003. So what I had never sat down to think about during the first 7 years of my teaching career was how do kids learn math best? So not answering this question cost me a lot of frustration, burned me and my students out, And again, I almost left teaching as a career. I was just so burnt out and over it. I never thought of math education like that. I was just going through the motions because that's what my principal expected of me. It wasn't for me to question yet. Epic fail for me and my students. Enter Don Tolman. So Don Tolman, who soon became a mentor of mine, came to our school to teach holistic education principles, along with health principles such as eating from nature's table, drinking a half a gallon of water a day, getting sunshine, getting out in the natural world every day. So his education principles were unlike anything I had ever heard. He put a strong emphasis on kids learning living math, and he showed us that math is found everywhere around us, starting in the natural world. So Don pointed out the famed Fibonacci numbers, which is a number series where you add the very first two numbers, such as 0 and 1, to get the next number. And each number next to it gives you the next number. So 0 and 1. 0, 1, 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, 1 plus 2 is 3, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, etc. And these numbers are found in such places in the natural world, such as flower petals, pine cone spiral turns, and the golden ratios found in also places like Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa. Having been briefly introduced to nature's numbers and shapes years ago in a Time Life hardback book, I'm talking about me, simply called Mathematics, these concepts sprang to life in me again. I was alive and started searching for nature's numbers, patterns, and shapes outdoors every day after school and on the weekends with notepad and camera poised consistently in my hands. I became enthralled and obsessed, looking for math everywhere around me, starting in nature. It brought me back to nature, and I introduced the beauty and wonder of mathematics to my students in my classroom. I had officially began my second renaissance as a teacher. I like to kind of divide up my teaching career according to Renaissance, or like that epiphany time period where I have this epiphany in education and start applying it in the classroom. So this was my second educational renaissance as a teacher. This time my focus was on math found everywhere. The right math approach turns dull and disinterested learners into ravenous, passionate, lifelong math scholars. The right math approach gets kids exploring math, learning, and mastering it. The right math approach gets kids outdoors into nature, looking for nature's wondrously beautiful patterns, numbers, and geometries. The right math approach gets kids creating and building things using math as a familiar friend instead of something they dread. The right math approach makes learning math for your kids easier and much more enjoyable so that peace can finally reign in your homeschool. Phew! So tomorrow I'm going to show you how to practically guarantee that you're off on the right foot, getting set up for a lifetime of math lovers and learners in your homeschool. So that every time you talk about math with your kids, they're willing and able to engage with math in an enjoyable and fun way. This will greatly increase your chance of presenting math to your kids and them responding positively and with hunger to learn more math. How about that? Is that awesome and epic or what? All right, so we'll chat tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to click the link with this post to get my free unit study planner. This is one of my secrets for living math learning, is using unit studies, starting with your child's top interest. And you can use that to fill out around your child's top learning interest. And that will also put you on my wait list because I am very soon releasing math learning secrets this week. In fact, tomorrow. So stay tuned. All right. Thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up. Hit subscribe here on YouTube. Go on down there. Leave a comment about this post. I'd love to hear your thoughts about today's post. Thank you for